Thank you for staying with us. Entrepreneurship is not only about creating businesses. It's about solving problems, creating jobs, and driving positive change in society. So in Nigeria and across Africa, entrepreneurs are tackling critical challenges in education and several others, other parts of our lives. Now, this conversation spotlights how entrepreneurship can be leveraged to address social issues, foster innovation, and inspire the next generation. It draws from the ViMP 2025 experience powered by the Junior Achievement Nigeria. We explore how emerging leaders are being equipped with skills, networks, and mindsets to lead transformational change. Let's have this conversation this morning with three people joining me here. Mr. Oluwatosin is the Assistant Manager Programs. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
He's the Assistant Manager Programs, Junior Achievement Nigeria. We also have with us Boluwatife Fiona Odebomi, Class Vice President and Virtual Participant.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And Vese Ho, Class President and On-Site Participant.
Thanks for having me.
No wonder you're addressing very presidential. Let me begin with you, Mr. President.
All right.
Before ViMP, you were both of you were starting out.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to apply, and what were your expectations? I mean, you were just starting out in business, career, maybe in your career or your business. So what was the motivation to join this, and what were your expectations?
Okay, so before ViMP, I had co-founded a startup, Ginegy Technologies, and I was trying my hands at the compressed natural gas industry pretty much. And then I met someone who had advised me to put in for the Venture in Management program, which is ViMP, right? And he told me how that this would not only put me in a good network, but also provide me with technical knowledge, you know, to do business and do it the right way with impact in view. So for me, that was the motivation, really. Join the ViMP program, be part of a community that was, you know, forward thinking in terms of Nigeria's problems, you know, and also just see how that I would build strong networks that would help me do business better, pretty much.
Fiona?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. For me, I really liked how the alumni of the program stood out. So when I heard about the program, I researched it. I saw that I had 2 alumni in my network, and they were very distinct from the other people in the network. So I reached out to them, and then I really wanted to know what made them stand out in a way that the way they do entrepreneurship, they were not just trying to make money, they were trying to impact people. So that was it for me.
Interestingly, the president was agreeing with you as you spoke. You couldn't see it, but I could.
Yeah.
But it was an intensive week, right, at the LBS. What was the most impactful lesson or course in the program, you know, that changed your perspective? Is it business or career for you?
It's business.
Business, okay.
Okay. The most impactful course was the Marketing Essentials by Prof. Uchenna, right? And for me, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I like to look at what I'm doing with what I'm learning. So I'm currently a rotational intern, so I'm currently with the marketing department. So the things he was saying, I was resonating with them. And he said something. He said, when you do marketing, first of all, you position your brand, you have a good product, you market it. And when you market it, you start with below the line. You let people experience it before you go mainstream. So that was very impactful for me.
Mr. President, beyond the curriculum,
Very well.
what else was the most valuable part of the ViMP for you? I'm not talking about the mentorship and alumni. How about the food?
Oh dear, okay. So the food, like everyone who knows LBS will tell you, the food is always superb, amazing, and the culture that the people serve you the food with, it's very courteous and makes you feel at home, right? But beyond that, I think that the selection process was really thorough to bring very, very incredible young people together. So, the interactions that we had amidst ourselves were very profound and thought-provoking. Maybe lastly for me would just be the environment itself, the LBS environment where the program was going on. There was a level of structure that is second to none to what I've seen so far, and you would hear them say they've maintained this level of excellence for over 30 years. And, it just goes down to culture and ethics in the way that they operate the programs, the LBS as a program. So it was amazing for me.
Was it food for you as well?
I was a virtual
She was
participant.
Oh, so you missed the food part.
I missed the food.
Was it the e-food? Okay, no, no. How does this one differ from previous ViMPs for you?
All right, thank you for that question. Okay, so for us, this is the 25th year of running the venture management program. And basically, we impacted over 1,000 beneficiaries through this program. For us this year was strategic to ensure that, we're able to integrate them into the world of work, making them understand that entrepreneurship is not just about doing business. It's also making them understand that we are gradually moving to a system where, as you are doing business the right way, you are also impacting people. So we were careful to select individuals who had the mind to give back to their community. And that was what informed the participants that we selected for this year's venture management program.
And how does this one, does it really prepare young leaders, not just to build businesses? How does it prepare them to impact communities?
Thank you for that very good question. So the program is designed in such a way that we prepare them through the learning of, through case studies, conversation, practical problem-solving skills, from world-class learning of business, Lagos Business School, obviously, making them have a good experiential knowledge, hands-on experiential knowledge of how to ensure that they know what it means to start up a business. And also beyond starting up a business, they themselves, because in the world of entrepreneurship, there's a concept of entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. That is, you can also build a career with an organization and ensure that you are contributing valuably to that organization.
Like a business owner?
Yes, exactly. And you take ownership of what is happening within the organization.
Well, Mr. President, Mr. Ho, so CNG is relatively, well, it's not new in Nigeria, but it's relatively new in terms of its prominence and practice and everything.
Very well.
So how does this, what skills or mindset would you say you have gained from this ViMP that is going to change how you do business?
So one of the faculties that took us on ethics made statements around the fact that you could be ethical in doing business, and while in the short term it may not look profitable or to your advantage, in the long run you would find that you do business better, and serious-minded people who want to really do business with good quality will come to you. So for me, the ethics and leadership sessions stood out, right? How would that inform doing business? It would really just be how ethical can we approach this, right? We want to talk to people about CNG is relatively new. There are certain myths that they have around it. How do we honestly communicate CNG or whatever it is that we're trying to do in such a way that we don't hide certain things that could be important for them, but most importantly, ensure that everyone is aware of what it is that they're getting into, right? So just being able to be considerate in that sense and do business honestly is one of the biggest ways that I would say the ViMP program will impact how we do business generally.
Madam, the young people have a general apathy towards Nigeria or even towards any country in Africa. When you say nobody wants to emigrate to Congo, nobody wants to jackpot to Kenya. Everybody wants to go to where it seems to be happening, and it's all about how those countries have been projected. Now, in line with this year's theme, why do you think entrepreneurship is critical to transforming Nigeria and Africa today?
Okay. So this year's theme, entrepreneurship as a tool for societal transformation, it's very deep. Yeah. So it's basically, like you said, everybody wants to run away. Everybody wants to go to where it has already happened, where it's shiny. But we shouldn't run away. We have to stay because we have to transform the society. What entrepreneurship does is that as an entrepreneur, you provide value, and it is that value that impacts life. You create jobs for people, and you solve a problem that is big or small, but you're solving a problem. You shouldn't run from the problem. So that is how.
How do you convince people to solve problems when they believe that the problem, it is government that should be solving the problem and not them?
The problem is not for the government. It's all about the mindset. Like you said, they believe. So if you want to convince them, you have to change their mindset. That's what ViMP is doing.
Oh, you must have a magic wand to change their minds. Anyway, don't answer that question yet. Now, Sadiq, how have you been able to measure the impact of ViMP by the Junior Achievements Nigeria over the years?
All right, that's a very great question. So, for over the 1,000 participants, beneficiaries who had gone through the program, we have had landmarks doing quality and great work in their space. And we have quite a number of testimonies to that effect. Right. So, individuals who participate in ViMP, they take that as a learning to go into the economy and build something solid for themselves and for the country at large. So we have individuals who are doing greatly well in their space, and they are obviously affecting and impacting the lives of young people across the country. Now, beyond that as well, one of the great testimonies that we've had from ViMP is also the reflection of how participants or beneficiaries of the program who are also well placed with what they do, they've also come back to be a part of, supporting the program and ensuring that we're able to sustain and continue in the trajectory of ensuring that we're able to bring in more young people and impact them in this same fashion.
How do you recruit?
Oh, very good.
Because you talked about
selection.
And is there an election somewhere?
Election for president, but there's election president.
But you have to be a citizen to be elected president. So how do we gather the citizens, first of all?
Yeah, that's a very good question. This year, it's interesting to know that we had over 1,100 applications from young individuals who were interested in joining the program. And that was the first process for it to us. So we give them essays to write, and they submit their entries. So we ask them questions around, if they had the opportunity to meet with Mr. President, what problem would they be pushing to Mr. President to solve? And they write it as an essay. And so we review those essays, and then we look out for individuals, as I've mentioned, based on the theme for this year, individuals who have the mindset of ensuring that they want to impact in the long run, not just to do business, but they want to impact the community. So we look out for those individuals, and then we streamline the selection process down, from the number of individuals that we receive. And then after that, we go ahead to interview those that have crossed the first ordeal. And then after the interview, based on their merit score from the interview process, we end up selecting those that eventually make it to the venture management program.
And you talked about some alumni who have come back to contribute. So how do organizations who want to support what you're doing to build a better Nigeria, can those organizations be a part of the process?
All right, very good question as well. So they can be a part of the process by sponsoring the program. They can also partner with us to contribute. So one of the session of the program is experience sharing session, where experts and past participants who are alumni and are doing well, they come back to share their stories with the beneficiaries and make them understand that it's not obviously as it looks. You know, this is what ordeal we crossed, and this was how eventually we were able to scale through, right? So individuals who are interested to support the program can support by sponsoring, by also, sharing their experience through volunteering to share their experience, and also mentoring. One access to this program is also to ensure that young individuals who are interested in building careers also get job opportunities. So individuals who have built their business strong enough to employ young individuals are also, available to, be a part of this to ensure that they can recruit young minds and make them engaged, and putting in the learnings from the venture management program into their business.
All right. Well, madam, 2025, as you said, more than 1,000 applications for shortlisting, 150 of you, both virtual and in person. Now, based on your journey, what one piece of advice would you give to a young Nigerian considering ViMP?
Okay, so I wouldn't give them one piece of advice, I would give them two. I would say research about the program, research about alumni, see what they are doing, see what's happening, research about the sponsors, Junior Achievement Nigeria, Lagos Business School, see what they are doing, right? And then clarify your own goals, what you're expecting from the program, what is your aim, state out your values, look at what they have, look at what you have, and align yourself with that.
Mr. Ho.
Yes, please.
Young people don't have this patience. You just want to blow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Particularly if you are not in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, or Kaduna, those happening places, or maybe Kano. Wherever you are, you just want to blow. Forgetting that blow has something to do with bomb. Don't go there. How do we persuade people about this mindset thing? That mindset should be more about developing others as opposed to stocking your pocket.
That is interesting.
Yeah, you are president. You have to be.
So I think it starts with values from the home.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it starts with values from the home. If you grow up in a home where you have been trained, and maybe for starters, even examples, right? So you have parents who are examples of the values they would have you inculcate, or you have environment that supports certain kinds of values, you find that young people will grow to reflect the values of those environments, right? So maybe just to throw out first, it will not be starting with the young people, it will start with everybody who constitutes the environment in which these young people are living, and the kinds of stories that we share, right? So people who have gone ahead and are successful should be willing, ethically, by the way, have gone ahead and are successful ethically, should be willing to create time to tell young people the story, their own stories, and how they arrived at that point. Somehow, we would begin to see that the narrative that good would only delay you is not completely true, and that if you want to build something that is formidable and long-lasting, then it has to follow process, right? So I think that's a good place to start. And just really, and I would say for somebody who is interested, you have to be a certain kind of person. So it's beyond, this is what is in vogue, or this is how people are doing it. You need to realize that at the core, if you're not a certain kind of person that attracts success, you may play optics and still end up going back to the ground point where you started. So really just having people teach people how they went through process could be a way of encouraging young people to go through process.
You have marked the papers of like 100% of parents in Nigeria, and I think maybe 30% of them have scored well, because given what we see today, parents handling their children to some clerics to beat up, parents funding their children to go to prom and spraying dollars on them in Nigeria. You have marked their papers and you have scored them.
I hear you.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
You.
Mr. Vesiho is class president and on-site participant. Boluwatife Fiona Odebumi is class vice president and virtual participant. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as well as Mr. Oluwatosin Oyedayo, assistant manager programs of JAN. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, our next conversation is about parent-child bonding, particularly father-daughter bond. Now, someone is asking, if you take care of the father-daughter bond, who's going to take care of the mother-son bond? That's not what we're talking about today. Today is father-daughter bond. Talk about that when we return. Thank you, sir.